moved now. We've moved to a place called Pinner. We only moved to Pinner because the estate agent said to us, he said, oh, Pinner is a lovely part of West London. West London. We get Welsh telly. It's not London. It's not London, but it is very nice. One of the things I like about where we live is it's very multicultural. I think that's one of the brilliant things about London. I think multiculturalism is something we really have to fight for. Like the school my kids go to, it was very easy to pick a school for my kids because obviously we just picked the one with the highest ceilings. But the school they go to, it's a really nice school and it's very diverse. Like we have a mum's night out once a month and all the mums from the school go and there are women there from every economic background, every race, every religion, and we have a fantastic time and the Muslim mums drive us home. Tell you what, it is nice. I had an incident the other day, though. I was walking down the street near where I live, and it was one of those sunny days, one of those days that remind some van drivers that women have breasts. You know, one of those. And I was walking down the street, and there was a van drove up and slowed down, and two guys leaned out of the van, and they were in classic kind of leching position. And I knew they weren't going to be looking at me because I am 44 years old. And in fact, my older friends, when I was turning 40, they said, oh, being over 40, it makes you invisible, right? And I have found, yes, that is true, but the brilliant thing is it mostly makes you invisible to dickheads. So it's not really a problem, it's a superpower, if anything. So I'm walking down the street, these two guys are leaning out of this van, and I see they're leching, but they're looking past me at a younger woman, a woman in her 20s, who is walking alongside me. And these guys do the classic thing. They lean out of the van and they gave this woman a very detailed appraisal of her anatomy. You know, they covered all the main areas in bullet-pointed form, very thorough. And then they went on to suggest what I can only describe as a smorgasbord of activities they felt they would enjoy indulging in with her were they not under pressure of time to get to the next plumbing job. So they did all this and they drove off. And naturally, I turned to this woman and I said, oh my gosh, are you okay? That was horrific. And she said, no, I'm fine. It happens all the time. And I thought, yeah, it does when you're in your 20s, doesn't it? And we were chatting about how silly it was as we walked down the street. And then we got further down the road and the traffic had slowed down and this van had come to a stop. And I think a few years ago I would have just left it, said nothing. But this year I thought, you know what, if I'm going to be invisible, you know who else is invisible? Ninjas. I am going to be a bloody middle-aged ninja. I'm going to strike, right? So I went up to the van and I just leaned in and I said, oh, hi, guys. Listen, sorry to bother you. I just wanted to say thank you so much for what you did back there because my son here has been undergoing a very difficult gender reassignment. He's been worried that it's not going that well, but what you did back there really made him feel like a proper woman. Thank you. I was delighted with myself as well. But what was really special was that then the young woman next to me leaned in beside me and in the deepest voice I've ever heard, just went, yeah, thanks, guys. It was a beautiful moment. Obviously, it wasn't perfect. The only thing that could have made it perfect would have been if the guys in the van had said, actually, if your child is undergoing a gender reassignment, it's incredibly insensitive of you still to be referring to her using the male pronoun. They didn't do that. They just called us slags.
I get concerned about the message that we send, you know, young women a lot on TV and, you know, in the media, because right now we live at the height of materialism where it's suggested to young girls especially that you can indulge the most depraved man as long as he's rich. This is evidenced by the franchise 50 Shades of Grey. Has everybody here seen 50 Shades of Grey or read it? Okay, some of you are shaking your heads. Fine. I will give you a quick plot summary of 50 Shades of Grey. I will be paraphrasing in this monologue, by the way. Is everybody ready? Yeah! Here is 50 Shades of Grey, abridged by Dame Baptiste. Hi, I'm a pretty naive American young girl who doesn't know about sex, even though I have access to the internet and my friend's a journalist. Mr. Grey, you seem so mysterious and rich. Can I interview you? That's right, baby. I am mysterious, and I'm rich as hell. Can I put a pineapple in your ass? other stuff happens, but that's pretty much it. It's fair. Unfortunately, we live in a time where, materialism is encouraged, Do you guys remember the song No Scrubs by TLC? Yeah, great song for the ladies. Not so fun for the unemployed male. That was not a fun song to hear when I was younger. You remember how that song used to go? If you live at home with your mama, oh yes, son, I'm talking to you. If you live at home with your mother, they're talking to you. What if I'm a full-time carer? I'm supposed to leave my mother lumbered with bedroom tax. Then go live with a bunch of strangers and pay somebody else's mortgage, then have those strangers question my life choices, which my mother already does, but I get rice and peas when she does it. Sitting in the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me. Sitting in the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me. I'm sorry, if me and my friends are concerned about our carbon footprint, I'm not entitled to find love? If you don't have a car and you're walking, oh yes, son, I'm talking to you. If you don't have a car and you're walking, they're talking to you. So we're supposed to leave our houses in 4 separate cars, knowing full well petrol prices are at £1.25 per litre in some stations. Then if you go into London, you're paying a congestion charge 4 times. If you're going out of London, you're paying a toll charge 4 times. Then wherever we get when we're going, then you got to pay a parking charge 4 times. And if we're all driving, then guess what we can't do? We can't drink, because when you all take separate cars, there's no designated driver, TLC. Which means when we finally do get to the club, because of all the traffic, because there's 4 cars adding to that traffic, we gotta drink water and sparkling water, then pay club prices for fruit juice. So I'm paying £7.25 for a cranberry juice, and we've been planning this night for months, TLC!
The problem is the builders, my dad's mate, he's a proper geezer, proper South East London geezer. One of those builders, that walk, just walks like that, his legs like he's got a pool table between his legs. And he walks like that, and also he's got those really thin jogging bottoms. Those like grey jogging bottoms that builders wear. I don't know where they get them from. They're so thin, and it just grabs onto anything that's there. It's just, I feel like I'm getting stared out by his knob and balls as he comes in. And sometimes it's weirder than him being naked. I don't know why. It feels more intrusive. He's like, hello, son, what we got here? I don't know. Everything's... Walking around like that. I reckon I could draw his knob and bollocks from memory better than mine. So he's coming like that, and I'm like, oh, God. I go, do you want a cup of tea? He goes, yeah, I'll have a cup of tea. I went, how many sugars? He went, 13. That's not a cup of tea anymore, it's a pudding. That's an Angel Delight of a tea bag, innit? 13 sugars, I'd make sticking it in. It's about £3 worth of sugar. He's only come round for a quote, it's already cost me. I put 14 in to test him. Give it him. He went, it's a bit sweet, isn't it? You winding me up, when you're on 13, you greedy bastard. Oh, type 2 Terry's come round and it's a bit sweet for him, is it? When are you going to do this job? I want it done before your foot comes off, all right? Anyway, I had a Kit Kat in the fridge, right? I thought, right, let's get him back on side. I've got the Kit Kat, right? He's into sugar. I like introducing people to new things. See if he wants a Kit Kat. 4-finger Kit Kat. Like, how would you eat a Kit Kat? 4 fingers? I've said that wrong, haven't I? I thought you looked at me funny. Sorry, I said that like it was your name. I meant to say... I don't know what I meant to say. I meant to how would you eat a 4-finger Kit Kat? But I went, how do you eat a Kit Kat? 4 fingers. Oh, my God. Hello, 4 fingers, how's it going? Who needs funds, eh? Need to smoke by the looks of things. Sorry about that. Not an ideal nickname for a young lady, is it, really? So what would you do? 1 finger at a time? Is that what you'd... Should we start again? Sorry, what's your name? Anita. Nice to meet you, Anita. Sorry for calling you 4 fingers. Anyway, Anita, how do you eat a Kit Kat? That's what I was going for.
1 at a time.
1 at a time, right. 1 at a time's a normal approach to a 4th. Got there. Yes. Anyway, 1 at a time's a normal approach to a 4-finger Kit Kat, isn't it, right? I gave this builder a 4-finger Kit Kat. He picked it up, put the whole thing in his mouth at once. Bit into it like he was eating a bun. Dirty ogre sugar bitch. What kind of animal is one popping a 4-finger Kit Kat?
I said, what do you want? He goes, I want a cat. And I said, a cat? Nah, I'm not going to buy you a cat. No one gets a pet for Christmas. And you know what happened? I'll tell you what happened. There was a mouse. A little mouse. It came into the house, and the girlfriend, she saw it. She goes, ah! What's he doing in here? What's he doing in here? We've got a mortgage. Like, that's got to do with anything. Like, all the mice is outside there. It's like, hold on, guys, before we go in there, we need to see if this is rental accommodation first. Yo, fam, put that cheese down. We haven't seen the tenancy agreements yet. It might be a hoax, right? It don't work that way. So she was like, Marlon, we need a cat. I said, I don't want one. She said, Marlon, we need a cat. So we compromised and we got one. So we went to this place. Where they hold all of the cats in the world. And I walked in there, I was like, I want a cat. And the lady said, that's not how it works, sir. I said, please. She said, no, what it is, we need to interview you to see if you're fit to have a cat. And I started panicking. At this point, I said, listen, right, lady, right, listen, right, between me and you, I've got a son. I said, human being, 8 years old, and he's not dead. And she looked at me, she was like, yeah, you can have a cat. So, she brought us up the stairs, man. When she brought us up the stairs, I've never seen so much cats before in my life. There was more cats than people in this room right now, right, and they were there, different shapes, different sizes. And my girlfriend, she got drawn to one cat, which was like blue and grey. I've never seen a cat like this before, a blue and grey cat, and his whiskers were out and the tail was up, and she walked over to the cubicle where the little cat was, and she put her hand right up against it, and the cat came along and he put his paw there. And it was like they were touching. And she was like, I want that cat. And the lady said, no. She said, why? She said, well, that cat, it can't live with children. And my girlfriend looked at me like to say, fuck the kid. I want that cat. The lady said, no, you can't have that cat, but we got some cats that is suitable for you, but they're in this corner over here, and she walked us into this corner, ladies and gentlemen, and all of the cats in this area here were black cats. Yes, and my paranoia, that went off straight away. I was like, hold on a minute, we can't have that cat over there, but we can have any of these ones. I've got to fight racism in the real world, but also in the feline world as well. This is bloody ridiculous. And she said, this one's called Denzel.
Going away with my wife, she does this thing, right? If you get her in an airport, I'm not allowed to have my own passport. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I'm a 40-year-old man, I get to passport control. They say, you got your passport, mate? I'm like, no. I'm not allowed to carry it. Apparently, I'm not mature enough. I don't know what happens, man. The moment you get in near an airport, she becomes like some sort of Russian people trafficker. Do you know what I mean? She's like, I must have all the passports. You cannot handle passport. You are too stupid for passport. I must keep all passports in zippy clear travel document folder, huh? Alongside printout from TripAdvisor. But you may carry the bags. I'm like a peasant boy for the day. Oh, thank you, master. Thank you very much. Yes, it's a real honor for me to carry your bags, you know. 11 pair of shoes for 3-day mini break is a good idea. Huh? Yes. Maybe you will become a centipede while we are in Egypt. Who knows? I went to a stag do recently. I went to the Munich Beer Festival. Has anybody here been to the Munich Beer Fest? Seemingly everybody. How many days did you go for, mate? No days. Got deported on arrival. We went for 7 days. We got there on a Monday, right? We had 6 straight days drinking, Monday through Saturday. And on the Sunday, we said, we've got to do something different, right? So we went to Dachau concentration camp. Yeah. It was a weird shout. There's no getting away from it. Could have gone go-karting. I said, no, let's do some World War II here. It took a long time to get there, and when we got there, it was shut. Now, yeah, it felt inconvenient. However, given the wider backdrop of historical suffering, I didn't necessarily think that my inconvenience was that big a deal, right? So I just thought I'll take it on the chin. But we had a mate of us called Tim, and Tim started popping off at the German security guard. He said, mate, it's a Sunday, yeah? It's a big tourist day. It's outrageous that it's shut. I said, to be fair, it's outrageous that it was ever open, you know what I mean? It is weird that you're making this about you, Tim, to be honest. People say dumb things, though, don't they? I was having a beer with my mate Wayne the other day, and Wayne likes to tell you where he was on the occasion of big historical news events that happened within our lifetime, right? So I mentioned 9/11, and Wayne went, 9/11, remember where I was that day? I was like, don't care where you were. I don't see how it's relevant. I don't see how your whereabouts on that fateful, terrible day will form some sort of meaningful historical footnote, Wayne. I'm being honest here. He looked hurt. He went, I went, all right, where were you? He went, karate. I went, see, that's exactly the sort of trivial shit I was worried about, Wayne. He said, well, you know, I was in New York 6 months before that. Makes you think, doesn't it? I was like, no. No. To be honest, all it makes me think is I wish you'd been there 6 months later. Sorry.
I was on holiday recently. I was on an all-inclusive. We all love an all-inclusive holiday, don't we? Oh, aye. Chips and gateau for breakfast. Yes. I always think it's amazing. I can always identify where people are from on an all-inclusive holiday. It's fascinating for me. Like the Italians. You can always tell the Italians because they could put on a bag of rags and look amazing. Then you can see the Germans, and they're quiet, and they're reserved. And then there's us. The British. That's interesting, isn't it? Because we all want to become pals with each other. I've had a pen pal in Woking for 25 years that I met in Lanzarote. But it was a really, really interesting for me because there's a way I can always tell if someone is from the south of England on holiday. And it's I don't need to hear your accent, nothing. The way, number one, I will tell if you are from the south of England is, it will be 9 o'clock at night. It's 28 degrees. The moon and the stars are out. And you come out wearing a wee jumper. Because it gets a bit chilly. It's 28 degrees. The moon's out. I'm Scottish. I'm like, past the factor 50 hen. I do not trust the moon burn. Get me. The factor 50. Then there's another way I can always tell someone is from the south of England. You and I are on an all-inclusive holiday. We can eat as much as we want, and they will go to the bar and they will order a half pint. No, You can't order a half pint in Scotland. Next time you visit Scotland, try and order a half pint. That is one of the most tense conversations you will ever have. About 3 months ago, I went to a bar in my home city of Glasgow, and I says to the barman, can I have 2 pints of lager and a half pint of lager? And he looked at me, and he went, what was that? I said, it's 2 pints. He went, no, just the last one. I went, it's just a half pint of lager, mate. Hold on. Come here. Tell him. Just the last one. I went, it's just a half pint of lager. Is that for you? It's for my pal. Ah. Are they on antibiotics? Are they pregnant? Would they like a colouring book and crayons with that?
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it's too expensive to be dating right now in this economy, man. All my go-to moves for dating, I can't even afford them no more. I'm pissed off, you know? I used to do the Netflix and chill. That was my go-to move, but that subscription is too much right now. I can't afford it, okay? If I had to downsize, I tell girls, baby, we're gonna have to Wikipedia and chill. That's my new move right now. That's where we read the plot of the movie by candlelight. Take it or leave it. Also, bring your phone. We're using your data, by the way. You better be on gift gaff. As you go, you gotta go. Those are the rules, you know. There's consequences to that, though. I had a girl break up with me just because I didn't have money, and she got a new boyfriend. He's a nice guy, I know, because I stalk him online sometimes. He's a really nice man. Treats my girl really well, he really does. He buys her expensive handbags and things like that, and that's when I realized I can't compete, man. I can't compete with that. I never even bought this girl a bag for life, not one time. That's true. I'll be in Tesco like, baby, you better put that cheese in your pocket. We're not spending that 50p right there. These gold diggers want my plastic bags. They can't have them. That's my bag right there. I'm not a big fan of social media, man. I'm really not. Because I feel like with social media, when you break up with somebody, you can see what they're up to online. I don't like that. I prefer in the past where you broke up with somebody, you could just lie to yourself and pretend that they were still unhappy. That was a good era. I like that. You just be lying to yourself. You be like, man, she probably missing me all the time. She probably sad, you know. Now you just go on her Instagram and you're like, oh no, she 100% made the right decision. Good for her, man. I haven't seen her smile like this in years. In fact, she's thriving. She's got 3 bags for life in one photo. She leveled up for real, bet. Congratulations to you, baby, you know. Do you know, when it comes to dating, I feel like the most important thing is finding somebody that you're compatible with, someone you have that connection with. For example, I used to date this girl, me and her got on really well, but there was a problem, and that was she liked dogs, right? Don't get me wrong, I like dogs too, but she liked dogs too much, you know? She liked dogs too much. She used to kiss her dog. That was weird, you know? I don't even know what was weirder. Was it the fact that she would kiss her dog, or the fact that when she did, the dog would make eye contact with me the whole time? That's a weird power play. I said, this dog is an alpha. I don't feel safe in this relationship. This is a toxic masculinity dog right here. I gotta go. I caught that dog listening to Andrew Tate. I said, I'm out of here. I can't do this no more. I've been reading up about that. That's the new thing, toxic masculinity, man. You know, I keep hearing women say men are trash. You know, I don't think anybody's asking the important questions. Are they recyclable? I feel like that's the kind of stuff we gotta ask. Can we make this toxicity carbon neutral? Maybe, I don't know, you know. I like to think I'm a good guy, but even as a good guy, I make small mistakes sometimes, innocent mistakes. You ever been in that situation as a man, a really awkward situation, you're walking home late at night and there's a woman in front of you and it's dark and there's a lot of tension in the air. You can feel the tension, right? Obviously, I can understand why the woman's feeling tense, but I'm feeling tense too, okay? I'm a good guy, I just want that woman to relax, we both go about our day. But apparently, it makes it worse in that situation if you shout out, I'm not gonna hurt you. Like, that makes the situation more tense. Sometimes they run faster when you do that. Don't do that, guys. Don't jump out of bush and do that. Women don't like that, okay? One time I was walking behind this woman late at night. I know it sounds like there's a pattern emerging. I'm not doing this on purpose. I just walked off the night bus at the same time. It's unfortunate, you know. But I'm walking behind this woman. I was like, I don't want to make the same mistake from last time, shout something out, do something dumb. So I thought it'd be a good idea if I did something non-verbal to help put the woman at ease, okay? I thought it'd be a good idea if I started whistling at night because I thought that would make the atmosphere more jovial. No, it doesn't. Makes it way creepier to my surprise, actually. Especially if you're like me and you don't even know how to whistle properly. So then you're just a guy who's blowing in the wind in the dark real slow, like... Look like a creepy dinosaur, you can't do that.
You know what? This is true. I actually was at a charity auction about 3 weeks ago, and they were selling off at this charity auction the opportunity to be a mascot at Anfield. And I kept on bidding, and it was getting close between me and another fella. And it got to the point where they said, look, we're going to have a word with you because only one of you is going to win it, and this is getting a little bit silly. And he turned to me and he said, okay, we're going to have a word with the both of you. He turned to the other fella, he said, the child who will be the mascot, how old is he? He said 8. He turned to me, he said, the child who would be the mascot, how old would he be? I said, 42. I was so desperate to walk out at the match, old Nans with Steven Gerrard like that. Because it's a dream. And it's a dream that never ends. It's a dream that never ends. That's what women don't understand. Women don't understand that men live in 2 worlds. We live in this world, the one that you see, and the other one, the one that's in our head. The one where everything's still possible. I would say now that there's men in this room still waiting to get bitten by a spider to find out you've got superpowers. That's what we're like. That's why when you go to football games, you always see fat, bald, middle-aged men wearing replica football kits. And you know the first time they put that shirt on, you know they looked in the mirror and thought, there's still a chance. And that's what we're like. I go to Anfield, there'll be 47,000 people there, 20,000 of them will be fat, bald, middle-aged men wearing replica football kits, waiting for that one day that Rafa Benitez walks out, looks around and goes, oh, we've only got 10 men. Hey, I tell you what, Fat Eddie looks like he'll do a job. And it's difficult because you pass that ambition on to your kids. And as I say, I've got 3 kids, and we'd all like them to be footballers, we would. And 2 of my kids are really good footballers. I've got 3 boys, and 2 of them are really good footballers, and we're very proud of them. One of them's shit, to be honest with you. One of them, he couldn't kick a ball from here to there. He couldn't. I can't remember his name at the moment, but he's... And he went to school one day and he come home, he said, Dad, you know, instead of doing PE today, you know what we did? I said, what, son? He said, we did a thing called ballet. He was about 11 at the time. I said, what? He said, we did ballet. And I know what ballet is. I've seen Billy Elliot. I know what ballet is. I said, you did ballet, son? He said, yeah. I said, what was it like? He said, I loved it, Dad. I loved it. He said, I really loved it, and I want to do more of it. And I went, right, okay, son. I said, don't mention it to your granddad. But you want your kids to live their dreams, don't you? And I said, okay, son, we'll have a look into this. And I found a ballet school not too far from ours. So what I started doing is of a Saturday morning, I'd take the other 2 to football, and then I'd drop him near. It's only a couple of buses. I'd drop him near, and he'd go and do ballet. And then about a year ago, I got a phone call of this school in Chester, a specialist ballet school. They said, we've seen your son dancing. I said, yeah. And he said, we want to give him an audition. I said, all right, okay. So I spoke to him. He said, yeah, Dad, I'd like to go. And he went to this audition at this specialist ballet school in Chester. And afterwards, they phoned up and he said, you know what? He's brilliant. He's brilliant at ballet. We'd like to give him a place in the school. I said, but you're in Chester. How am I going to get him to Chester every day? They said, oh no, this is a boarding school. If he comes here, he'll have to live here. I went, what? He said he'd have to move here. And I said, I'm sure the other two can dance.
A lot of people know that I used to be a bouncer, which if you didn't know, I imagine that's come as quite a surprise. What? I was. Problem is, I still look like a bouncer. There's about 12 of you in here that showed me your tickets, and people still treat me like a bouncer. I went out a little while ago for a drink. I'm in the bar's hot, so I went outside, get some air, send a text message. So I wasn't stood there very long. I looked up from my phone and a queue had formed. That's the kind of... I had to learn how to be a bouncer while being a bouncer, which is like the worst place to learn how to do that job, especially when people think you can fight. I accidentally got a reputation that I could fight. I was 19, it was in my local bar, and I'd been there I was drunk. I was really drunk. I'd had like 50 beers. I had 3. You know I had 3. So I realised about that line, like, as you get older, you think that line's going to stop. It doesn't. It just changes. Like, do you remember being 19 and you go out drinking with your friends and you have like 3 Budweisers and you're comatose, but your friend says, how many drinks you have last night? You're like, 50. Then you get into your mid-30s and you actually go day drinking and consume 50 pints and then come home and like throw up on a cat and go to the toilet in the cupboard. But the moment your partner says to you, how many drinks did you have last night? You're like, 2. I think that second one was a bad one. I was really drunk. I was that level of drunk where I've now gone to the toilet and now I can't stop going to the toilet. Like, have you ever been that drunk? You've broken the seal and now you can't stop pissing. It doesn't even look like piss anymore, does it? It's so clear. It doesn't it? It doesn't look... Have you ever had that drunk thought where you're like, taste it? Can't me neither. I haven't unless you have. I haven't you, because right, that's disgusting. Why would you bring that up? I haven't. I was really drunk, and a fight kicked off. This guy threw a drink in this lady's face, and then he punched a bouncer and tried to run out of the club. And as he's gone to run out, I've gone to lean on the bar because I need a nap. And he tripped over my leg and hit his face on the bar, knocked himself clean out. Now, I'm stood over this dude. And I'll be honest, I was just trying to figure out if I was in the toilet yet or not. And I stood over this guy, and the owner of the bar came up and he shook my hand, and he said, well done. I was like, Then the barmaid came over and she went, yeah, look at him, and he's pissed himself. I was like, yeah, he's... Yeah, he's definitely did that. There's a lot of misconceptions about bouncers as well. People think we know a lot more about star signs than we really do. Like, we don't. We just know that's how to catch you out, because I don't know, but I also know neither do you. And you always know who in the queue to pick, because you can see them practicing. We've all done it outside clubs when you're waiting to go in, going 3rd of the 8th, 94, 3rd of the 8th, 94. Then they get to the front and they're confident. They hand their ID and you go, date of birth, please. You go, 3rd of the 8th, 94. You go, what's your star sign?
My wife gave birth to 2 little girls, and exciting. It's exciting. The hardest thing with twins, of course, is picking your favourite. You know, that's the hardest thing. I go for the one that's not crying a lot of the time. No, the hardest thing is the lack of sleep. That's what everyone says, don't they? The lack of sleep. I've been getting 3-4 hours sleep at night, so's my wife. And, I mean, famously, of course, Margaret Thatcher, she got by on 4 hours sleep a night. And that sort of goes some way to explaining why she was a proper miserable bitch, right? Because... honestly, right? It's right, isn't it? I mean... I sometimes wake up after 4 hours sleep and want to close a couple of minds. You know what I mean? That's how I'm right. Take milk off children, give it here. The one time you know you're not getting enough sleep, right? There's 2 times it happens. One time is when you look in the mirror and you can see what you're going to look like in 15 years' time, right? That's when you know you're not getting enough sleep. The other time is when you hear one of the most beautiful sounds in nature, bird song, okay, at 4:30, 5 a.m. in the morning, and all you can think of is, shut up. Shut your little beaky mouth. You little feathery bastard. That's when you need to have a lay-in at some point. Someone needs to come and relieve you. One of the things I found amazing while my wife was pregnant, and not amazing, that sounds bad, but is how much you actually fancy her while she's pregnant, okay? It's phenomenal. It just strikes blokes. You see your wife, I saw my wife, I think, whoa, yeah, whoa. Mainly because her boobs go massive, right? That's convinced me that God is a woman, because only a female would make those boobs the best looking they've ever been, yet too sensitive to do anything with. You forget yourself sometimes as well. I forgot myself. I remember coming one night, it was 2 a.m. I got into bed, I had to be up at 7. And my wife was out here, like, just before she popped, and she turned over, right, in the night. Beep, beep, beep. And she nudged me awake, complete mistake, but I forgot for a second, I just forgot myself, and I woke up, I went, oh, that's so frustrating. And she was up straight, bolt upright over me, eyes red in the darkness. Oh, frustrating, is it? Luckily, I had my wits about me, I went, just frustrating not being able to help you. I don't know where it came from, but I got away with it. She got angry at little things. We watched the film Superman, right? Now, I love Superman. She'd never seen it. She's from Derby, and I don't know if they've got a cinema there, to be honest. I think there was just one bloke on her street had a big telly, and that was it. And he just had one copy of Teen Wolf, and that was all he watched. So she'd never seen any films, right? So I said, right, you've got to watch Superman, it's a classic. And we were getting through loads of films and that while she was pregnant, bored and that. And we put Superman in, and we got about half an hour into it, and then the pause come on. I said, what's up? She went, I said, who? She went, Lois Lane. I don't know why she's talking like Bird and Maddie, my wife. Lois Lane. She is winding me right up. I said, why? She went, she has just been underwater for 15 minutes, unconscious, flown through the air at the speed of a bullet, lay on the ground, water's come out of her mouth, and now look at her. Her hair and makeup are still perfect, aren't they? She was really angry about it. But I sort of tried to appease her. I said, listen, that's because she's a Hollywood film star. She doesn't work at Greg's in Chorley. Right now, I shouldn't have said that. My wife's a supervisor. It was out of order, okay? No steak bakes for a week. I was starving.
There's other younger people in the room, right? You know what I mean. You have only ever known a time in your life when you're trying not to get pregnant or trying not to get somebody else pregnant. And I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but on both accounts, I fucking smashed it. I think it comes down to skill set at the end of the day, doesn't it? People are just good at different things. Some people are good at the violin. Some people are good at parallel parking. I was very good at taking the pill. Every day, every day, every day. Honestly, I used to think I was so good at taking the pill, I deserved a reward. Arguably, there was a reward. It was the reward of not having to watch Peppa Pig or cleaning up another human's shit. Tell you what I don't understand, right, is women who are on the pill and forget to take it. Don't get that. Because don't get me wrong, I forget things. I forget my keys, my wallet, the fact I'm married. Sure! But But forgetting to take something that can prevent you from creating a human that could one day say, turn the machines off, is what she would have wanted. I'm going to remember that one, thank you. Obviously does happen though, women forget to take the pill, they get knocked up. Happened to a girl I used to work with actually, when I used to work in an office, right? And we were chatting about it one day. She was so blasé, we're in the kitchen. She's just standing there rubbing her belly like, well, the thing is, I've just got really bad memory. I was thinking, that's funny, because every day without fail, you remember to steal my milk. Maybe if you'd strapped your packet of microgynon to my semi-skimmed, Stephen in accounts wouldn't be telling everyone how you trapped him. But I think the reason I was always very good at remembering to take the pill, because I've been on it for so long. I was on it since I was about 16. And the reason I started taking it was because I was going out with my first boyfriend, Kevin Sutherland. A boom, chicka, wow, wow. He was quite the catch. He had a Peugeot 106 and a tattoo of Bart Simpson, which I thought showed a great joie de vivre. And things were going very well between Kevin and I. We had matching bracelets from Argos, so you can tell how serious we were. And we'd agreed that we were going to do it for the first time, right? So I was like, right, I'll put myself on the pill because my first time is going to be really special. My first time is going to be just like in the movies. So the big day arrived, and Kevin, bless him, he made such an effort for everything to be really perfect. Like, he paid his little brother to leave the room. To this day, the most romantic thing a man has ever done for me. And he made a mix CD of all of our favourite romantic songs. You know, like Boom, 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 Let Me Hear You Say Wayo. And as we lay down on his single bed, with his Liverpool FC duvet cover on it, the scent of Lynx Africa heavy in the air. And as Kevin took my virginity so beautifully, and gently, and quickly, from behind, I remember thinking, wow, just like in the movies. Obviously, it's quite difficult to make eye contact in that position, isn't it? Almost felt like I lost my virginity to Stephen Gerrard. I'll never walk alone. I never will.
I recently got one of those virtual reality sets into the house, you know, with the mask and the whole... How many of you have done this yet? 1, 2, 7. It's amazing. It's genuinely stunning to me how few people have had a go on this, like whatever. It's genuinely stunning. You put the mask on your head, it's got 2 screens, independent screens, so therefore everywhere you move, it's like perfectly realistic. You put the headphones in, it's like completely immersive. You're in a 360-degree in all direction, totally artificial world. It's genuinely stunning. I think it's going to change gaming. I think it's going to change movies. It is going to revolutionize burglary. It's just... You break into a house and somebody has that on their face, Jesus, relax, chill out, you've got an hour. They're not going to know you're there. There's no rush, you can choose what you want. I like that, but that'll work well in the hall. It's a different game, right? And the weird thing is, as you saw there, not everyone's having a go at this. This is a genuinely transformative entertainment technology, and not everyone is using VR, right? And one of the quiet reasons that no one's talking about it, the reason that people aren't using VR is because nobody's using it to watch porn. It seems like a weird thing to do, but in the kind of history of nerdy kind of things, porn is surprisingly important for getting new technology accepted. Porn is the reason why Blu-ray beat the other kind of special DVD in their race a few years ago. Porn is the reason that sometimes video streaming software beat other kinds of video streaming software. The stuff that gets used for porn has a place immediately in the market, right? And nobody is using VR for porn, right? And I'm not naive, right? I know that men are visual creatures, but I can kind of see, you know, no man, while actually making love, has ever there been going, oh my God, this is incredible. Oh my God, honey, this is amazing. Oh, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Let me just have a quick look around the flat. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, that's amazing. Jesus, huge. Is that Corner Singer original now, or did you have a couple of days? But the main reason that people aren't using VR for porn is because you cannot be entirely sure that she's out for the afternoon. And I mean 100% sure, because the stakes are really high. You do not look good in this situation. You do not need your loved one going, oh, I've left my credit card, I better go back in. What is this you're doing to yourself? Yes, I was bringing the kids to my mother's house, but the little one fell in, we've had to come home. But Jesus, this is what greets us. The nightmare is you finish the wank of the century, you take off the mask, and there are 3 police officers just staring at you. Going, do you have no idea what's been happening for the last while? Somebody broke into your house. They were spotted, we were called, there's been a standoff. You've been a hostage for 45 minutes. We've had to close off your road. Sky News have a helicopter slowly circling overhead. Your wife is outside on a megaphone going, stay strong, John, stay strong. And all the time we've been watching you on the thermal imaging, just battering away at yourself.
I want to start by thanking the BBC for letting me be on the show. It's like really awesome that they did. I mean, it doesn't pay that well, but it's just really cool to be here. And they've been so generous. They put me up in a hotel right next to a casino in the city, and they didn't have to do that. I'm not criticizing the BBC. It's not their responsibility to know that I have a gambling addiction, because it's about self-knowledge. And when I go to the casino, I only bring the equivalent of $100 to gamble with, because I know I can afford to lose that. And I bring $25 for food in case I get hungry, and $800 for bus fare in case I forget something and have to go home a couple hundred times. It's quite a long flight out here, and of course I didn't get to board the airplane first because I don't travel with small children. The people who do travel with small children, they go on before anybody else. It's a nearly universal airline policy, and it's totally unfair. I mean, it's not fair at all. Never mind that I've spent the better part of a quarter of a century flying on the same airline, trying to earn enough status, enough loyalty, that maybe I could board the airplane first. Never mind that. Because that guy right over there made a single bad decision 3 years ago. So roll out the red carpet for His Majesty. And I'm not having to go at kids or parents. In fact, it's in defense of children. Little kids don't want to be jammed on the airplane right away. Small children do not enjoy air travel. And they've been making this abundantly clear for as long as I can remember. In fact, the airline should reverse the policy. They should say, small children stay at the airport till the last minute. They should say, anybody without small children, you may now board the airplane first, that you might enjoy a short moment of zen. Then the attendant would guide us like, okay, everybody just breathe in and release. Okay, here they come. I think I'm ready for this. But I also want to admit, in the interest of being open-minded, that I don't know why the kids got aboard first. And maybe there's a really good reason why the kids got aboard first that I don't know about, because I don't get to go on there with them. So I don't know what they do in there. I mean, maybe they got to do like a pre-flight sound check. I'm serious. Maybe they get on the airplane and they're like, wah, wah. Is that good in the back? Can you hear that? Is that sufficiently piercing? Okay, I'm almost ready to let him on. I just want to do a couple seat kicking warm-ups real quick here first. Check my distance. Get the volume up on that iPad. Turn the volume up on that iPad real good. I want people on the ground to hear me playing Angry Birds. You guys ever worry about the world? I get worried. I watched a documentary recently about how much the pollution from humans is destroying the environment. And after I watched that, I was so upset I couldn't even talk. I just had to go for a really long drive by myself and just think about shit. Alone in my Winnebago. Windows down, air conditioning up. A little bit of hairspray, because when I'm looking good, I'm feeling good.
You do a thing in the UK called pre-drinks. Pre-drinks, all right? Some people call it prinks, because they don't even have time to pronounce the whole word before they get on it, all right? Pre-drinks. I had no idea what it was. I had to ask my friend. I was like, Di, what the hell are pre-drinks? He said, Ignacio, it's great. We drink at home before we go out to go drinking. I said, that is the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. I said, why would you do this? He said, you know, just to warm up to get ready to go drinking. I said, that doesn't make any sense, all right? You don't do it for anything else, do you? You don't go, we're going to go to the cinema, pop a fucking DVD in before we go to the cinema. It makes sense. Just fire up the old Netflix and do shots of popcorn. Is it made before we go down to the cinema? Craziness. Everything revolves around booze, okay? People in this country start drinking around about 13, 14 years of age. Does that feel about right? 13, 14. Some of you, depending on where you're from, younger, some of you older, all right? I get that. But I came over, I visited as a teenager, and I found out the way it works, all right? I was trying to fit in, and they were like, right, what we're gonna do? We're gonna go down drinking in the park, all right? We're gonna go drinking in the park as teenagers, all right? I was like, right. They go, right, we're gonna steal booze from our parents, and we're gonna go down the park, all right? I was like, okay, no problem. So I showed up to the park, all right, feeling like Jason Bourne or something in my backpack, and I think, pull out the stuff, all right, what's in there? They were like, what the hell is Rioja? Like, it's Rioja. Does anyone have a corkscrew, actually? Because otherwise we're going to be here for a while. The thing is, like, kids do that, and if they can't steal the booze from their parents, what they do is they'll stand by an off license, all right? And they will wait for somebody to walk past who looks just dodgy enough, but not too dodgy, so they can offer them money and go, hey, can you go in the shop for me and pick me up some beer, some vodka, whatever, we can go down drink in the park, and that person will go get the cash, and then you go there, you get shit-faced as teenagers, it bonds you, okay? It brings you together. At least that was my experience, okay, back in the day. But times have changed, all right? I went to back where my mother's from, okay? My mother's from a little town in Wales called Pontardawe, all right? Don't know if anyone's heard of it. Tiny little town, Pontardawe. Pontardawe is a Welsh word, all right? Pont means bridge, and Dawe means over a shithole, okay? It's not a delightful place to move to from Mallorca, is what I'm trying to say. Right? My mother hates that joke. She's like, Ignacio, please stop saying that. They've taken all of the trolleys out of the canal, all right? Can we... But I was visiting and I was walking to see my mother and I passed an off license, okay? And there's this kid stood by the off license as I'm passing, all right? And he clocks me and I've got my guitar on my shoulder, so he's thinking, this guy's got no prospects. So he comes over to me with his cash, all right? And he was like, hey, could you maybe go in the shop? I'm like, I know where this is going. He goes, can you pop in the shop? I'm like, right. He goes, if I give you this money? I'm like, yep. And he goes, and get me some? I was like, I know where we're going. He goes, vape. I I was like, what? He goes, vape. I said, seriously, vape? He said, yeah. I said, what flavor? He said, cherry. I was like, of course, cherry vape. All right, rock and roll. I go in the shop. I'm laughing to myself. I can't believe these kids asked me for cherry vape. How times have changed, all right? I go up to the counter. The guy behind the counter must have thought I was insane, all right? I'm laughing the whole way through the shop. I grab the stuff, pay for it, put it in the bag. I walk out. I'm laughing on the way out. I give the kid the bag. I go, there you go, pal. 20 Marlboro Red and a bottle of vodka. Grow up, you little shit. What is this? Vape nonsense.
To be honest with you, I'm bisexual, but during lockdown, I'll admit, I was strategically gay. I think that was the only way to go. When dating became such that you had to meet strangers in parks, and also you had to believe the other person when they said they washed their hands. I'm not doing that with men. I also think that ultimately, if you are bi, I don't really know why anybody would be choosing men. Yeah, no offense, it's just that we smell better and you're violent. So... The men who don't laugh at that unnerve me most. Yeah, okay. Good lad, join in. Okay. There are good things about being broken up with, I think. One of my favorite things is that I had to get my house sorted, so I got a bunch of DIY done. I think DIY is amazing. DIY, in particular, there's one silver lining, and that is that DIY reminded me of something I had long forgotten the point of, which is, of course, men. You're amazing, aren't you? Specifically, I'm a fan of a subgenre of men. They're called handymen. Do we know these guys? Oh my God, they're wizards. I love them. They do magic. I adore them. You're not sold. That's okay. I had one lad in one day, had a bunch of photos and art on the floor, left, came back, on the wall. Oh, I'm sorry, these guys are defying gravity and you're not impressed by that? Incredible. I'm obsessed with them. I love them. I also had one day where I had two men in, I know, very exciting, and I had a bookcase, right, that needed bolting to the wall. I said, can you bolt that to the wall? They said, yeah, of course we can. I said, cool. Just so you know, even if you bolt it to the wall, the floor is uneven, so it will wobble. They said, no, don't worry about that, sure, we'll just get some extra wood and pop it under it. What? I said, don't worry about that, sure, we'll just get some MDF and pop it under it. What is this witchcraft? Here's the thing, Apollo. They did. I was like, I will suck you both off. Obviously, I had to think about it afterwards because head was my first reaction, only my first reaction, I think a normal one. My second one was, of course, to wonder how I am a woman in her 30s who doesn't know how to do any DIY. And I think the obvious answer there is that men are keeping it a secret to remain relevant. And that's not on me, right? But I do know some women can do DIY. I date soft butches, I'm aware. But genuinely, I mainly know because a woman came to my house from British Gas, very modern, and she fixed my boiler, right? And after she was done, she said, okay, that's all done, all sorted. Just before it works, you will need to bleed the radiators. I said, what? She said, oh, for that to work, you're just gonna need to bleed the radiators. I said, the butch one left. What are you saying? Sorry? Can't really hear you behind all of my hair. What's happening? She goes, do you want me to show you how to do that? I said, is that allowed? Women in the room, look at me. Come here to me now, focus, right? Did you know that that is just turning a key and waiting for liquid? It is basic hand job stuff, and no one will tell you. Here's the thing. Every man in my life has acted like that as a state secret, right? This man's furious, I'm telling you. You now have all the information you need. You're free, run. My dad bleeds a radiator in such a way that I thought he used his own dick. I thought there was actual blood involved. He'll go off with a bunch of tissues being like, I will do it, do not look, I will do it. Anyway, she fixed my boiler, so I was like, I will eat you out. They all said no, I had to pay both times. It's hard out there.
I'll set the scene. You're in stirrups, so it's like you've been riding a horse, and then the horse has fucked off. And you toppled over and ended up, in my case, in the back room of an NHS hospital. Then what has happened, every time I've been for a smear, and I don't know, something they're rolling out just for me, But every time I've been for a smear, what seems to happen is a doctor will come over and they'll go, "Hi, Miss Ruffle, thanks so much for coming in. It's really important you keep up to date with your smear test. Now listen, if this is a problem, you can absolutely say no. You can totally say no. It's not a big deal. But would it be all right? We have some trainee doctors in today. Could they all come in?" And you want to go, no, there's a horse on the loose. Could they go and get that? But you love the NHS, so you've got to go, "Yes, of course, no problem, it's absolutely fine." And then what happens is between 65 and 70 trainee doctors come in. There's loads of them. It's like a walking tour's got lost. It's not good. I also need to let you know something. People in the room that haven't been to a smear, I need to let you know something. When you're having your smear, you feel a little bit silly. You feel a little bit silly, and I'll tell you for why. T-shirt, nothing. Little pair of socks. A little bit silly. You feel a little bit like Winnie the Pooh. The doctor's back. She says, "Miss Ruffle, would it be okay if one of the other trainee doctors did your smear?" And you want to say, no, can I have someone who's had a crack at it before, please? But you love the NHS, so you've got to go, "Yes, of course, no problem, it's absolutely fine." And then what happens? The trainee doctor came at me like this. The doctor's back. She says, "Miss Ruffle, would it be okay if one of the other trainee doctors did your paperwork?" I was like, "Yeah, one's on the chuff, fill that form, carry on. So she goes, "You're Susie Ruffle." I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." She goes, "Okay, first question, what are you using as contraception?" I'm like, "Undercut on the Doc Martens, not enough? What more do you need?" I said, "I'm not using contraception." She went, "Oh, well, if you're sexually active, you do need to be using contraception." And I was like, "Oh, I don't. She went, "No, you do. Because even if you're using the old-fashioned technique or, the Catholic technique," nothing about what I am doing is Catholic. She said, "You should be very careful. You can have a baby tomorrow." I think it'll take 9 months. I've got 4 GCSEs. You're nearly a doctor. You should know that. And she wasn't picking up what I was putting down. And what I was putting down was a KD Lang album. So eventually I just had to come out. Now, of course, there'll be queer people in the room. You know what it's like. Sometimes you have to come out in situations where you didn't know you were coming out that day. You hadn't put it in the diary. So I had to say, "I'm a gay lady. I'm a lady that's gay. I'm a glady." And the one that was down here doing the jiggery pokery, which I think is the official term. I saw a gay lady and she popped up like I'd birthed her. So, whoa, she is a lot older than I thought she'd be, but we are very proud she's a doctor. I saw a gay lady, she popped up and went, "Oh, right, that makes sense." Snug. That's not a medical term, is it? Has that gone on my record? Snug, what a weird word to use. Because it sounds like she's looking down there and she can see the back end of a Tudor pub.
Whenever I talk about my Prosecco paunch, there's always a very specific laugh in the audience. I've learned to recognise it. It's just over there tonight. It's this. And I know what it is now. That is the laugh of a thin yoga woman. And I know what the laugh means. The laugh is like, "That's funny, but I'd kill myself if I looked like you." But I promise you, there's advantages to having a Prosecco paunch. Make some noise if you got one. 2 female will laugh for the bodies in the room. Don't be shy, lads. I can see you. It's quite well lit. Let's try that again. We're all being honest about ourselves. Give us a cheer if you got a Prosecco paunch. Boys. The thing is, if you have a Prosecco paunch, there are advantages to it, right? 2 main ones I can think of. Number 1, I don't want to be crude, but I can take some hammer. Yeah, it's true. I can give you a list of names that can attest to that as well. Not surnames. Now, the other thing is my Prosecco paunch porch always gives me the greatest slice of joy, right? You know those 3 incredibly hot days we get that we pass off as the summer, right? I absolutely love those because that's when I get all my tanning done. I'm taking it very seriously. I go and get a chair from the kitchen. I go and put it slap bang in the middle of my garden, right? Because all the sun hits there. I've not got outdoor furniture. I'm not a Tory. So I pop it there. And then I get as naked as is legally possible. So I've got full spaniel's ears out. Smallest knickers I can find. You might be worrying about me now, because this is obviously filmed in London. I live in the countryside. I've not really got neighbours. I've got one lad who can see into my garden. He's depressed. He's not looking out his window for 3 weeks. We're fine, right? I also get very precious when I'm doing my tanning, right? Very precious. So what I'll do is I roll my knickers down as small as I can get them, because I'm like, I don't want tan lines, actually. I don't want tan lines. I've got a bush like a badger, but I don't want tan lines. It's got TV. I don't want tan lines. I'm not allowed near cows. So I lie there, drinking it in, and as I lie there, think to myself, you know what? I am going to get up, and I am going to go to the freezer, and I am going to treat myself to a 3rd Magnum of the day. Because I'm a special princess, and I do deserve it. Thank you. For all the people who are allowed ice cream up there in that one section. Lactose intolerant in the stalls. Closer to the toilets, it makes sense. So I'll decide I'm going to treat myself to that Magnum. And then I'll wait another 40 minutes till I can actually be asked to get up and get it. And then when I get up and get it, this is where my Prosecco paunch really steps up. Because as I stand up, I will hear the sound of my own gunt peeling off the top of my own leg. Yeah, don't go, Don't pretend you're not turned on. It's embarrassing. It's an incredible noise. It's like this. That's my mating call. It is. I just see a row of bald heads along the fence like that. It's just divorced dads who are like, is that low self-esteem I can hear? Do you want to come to Pizza Hut and be a mum for 2 hours?
Oi, this is nice, isn't it? Yes! Is anyone here in their 40s? Have you guys started walking like this yet? It happens like clockwork, you know? It's mad. Like, I'll be walking around the co-op like I'm in an art gallery, just... Reduced by how much? Not enough. That and I've got a boner for linen. Ooh. In it. I literally go out shopping for fabric and I'm like, give me a fabric that will crease really easily. Yes. I want to iron it for at least an hour. That's for me. That and candles. Woo! Now listen, I used to party hard. And I found that burning your money via candles is a great replacement. When I say I like candles, yeah, I'm going diptyque, baby. Thank you. I'm going Joe Malone. Fig for me. Which also, like, I'm from a council estate. What does fig really smell like? Does anyone... I'm just going on what Joe Malone told me, you know what I mean? I mean, these candles are expensive. I reckon for a £5, I could probably buy 50 figs, chuck it in the oven and just waft it around the house a few times. The dream is, yeah, I want enough money that I can light a Joe Malone candle when it's just me in the house. Come with me, people. Can you imagine coming home to your yard, it's just you in, and you're like, you know what? Fig for me. As it is, if you was over my house and I had a candle on the go, no lie, after about 20 minutes, I'll start thinking that's about £17 worth of scent now. What kind of friend is he anyway? Is that enough? I realise there's nothing more insulting than someone lighting your scented candles when you're not there to enjoy the scent. Innit? I had my brother house sitting for me, right? I was away for a couple of weeks. I walked back into the house. As soon as I opened up the door, I was like... I walked into the front room. This guy is reclining on my sofa, lighting his spliff with my Joe Malone candle. The ash was falling into the wax. I was like, you alright? Yeah, you're good. Now, we know as British people, when our voices go high like that, we mean the opposite, right? The higher our voices go, the less we're about it. You know what I mean? If someone's like, you coming to a party? You're like, yeah! What that means is, I'm not coming to your party, mate. So I said, you alright? What you doing? He's like, oh, it's just a bit of mood lighting, innit? It's like, IKEA tea light is mood lighting. That's not even it. It was a 3-wick candle. Only 1 wick was lit. Thank you.
It's chaos out there, isn't it? We like to convince ourselves we're logical creatures, but we're not. And it's chaos out there. It's madness. They sell matches in petrol stations. It's chaos out there. Like, I was listening to this debate show recently on the radio, and they were talking about cannabis legalization. And the people in the cheap seats are very excited. But they were talking about it, cannabis legalization. And there was a guy on there making some pretty good points, and he kept saying, look, there's no logic to the fact that you can buy alcohol in this country legally, but you can't buy weed, which is a far less dangerous drug. And some of you, well, yeah, look, some of you might agree with that, and some of you might not. But the thing is, that argument ignores the huge swathes of things that we can buy. There's absolutely no logical reason for us to be able to buy. Like, yeah, you can't buy weed. Maybe you should be able to. Do you know what you can buy? Do you know what every single person in this room could buy tomorrow, if we wanted to, and there's no debate as to whether it's right or wrong? A horse. You've taken that very well as an audience. You know what a horse is, right, mate? You know what a horse is? Massive furry van with no respect for human life. You know what a horse is? Stand behind it, kicks you in the head, you're just dead, you can just buy one. Does anyone else find that weird? Anyone can buy a horse? Anyone can buy a horse. Anyone. I live in a 3rd-storey flat in South London. I can buy a horse, ride it down the high street, take it up the stairs. I've broken no laws. It's harder to buy scissors. No, maybe you don't believe me. I get that, maybe you don't. Frankly, I didn't believe me. I wrote this routine. I was like, come on, Sean. Come on, you can't just buy a horse. You've got to need land or permits or something like that. So I went on Google. Not only can you genuinely just buy a horse, right? I am not making this up. Do you know how much it costs? £40. For a horse. Do you know what a horse is? When word gets out, it's £40 a horse. Society's going to change immeasurably. I mean, for a start, Uber are finished. It's over. It's done. Honestly. You think Friday nights are rough as it is. You wait until every stag do in the country's got a steed dressed as a minion, all right? In many ways, might be the best thing that ever happened to us. I do think that. Think of all the problems it could solve if we went back to horseback. Think of it. Biggest problem at the moment, cost of living crisis. Petrol's through the roof. How am I going to get around? I can't afford my car tax. £40 horse, 1 payment, easy, done. £40, you can go where you want. You might be thinking, well, sure, you need to clothe a horse, you need to feed a horse. Here's the thing with a £40 horse. No, you fucking don't. It's a £40 horse. It's a £40 horse. It's a £40 horse. What else are you going to do? Just leave it at the side of the road. It's like those scooters. It's easy. What else are you going to do with a £40 horse, please? You wouldn't trust the glue to hold up a pin.
I sort of feel like if you've got enough money, you can sort of just pay somebody to diagnose away your shit personality. And I consider that money well spent, by the way. I would recommend it to you. Prick. No. I actually have bipolar disorder. That's why I've ruined your birthday. Poor me, actually. Now I always thought there was a system. Like, adult ADHD has changed everything for me. I didn't realize that was a thing. I thought it was a childhood thing, but now there's adult ADHD, which has confused the whole process for me. I thought the process was that if you had a child who was shit, you would say that they had ADHD. And if that child who is shit grows up to be a shit adult, you would say that they had bipolar disorder. Footnote, I've been diagnosed with both, so don't write in, camera people. Anyway, a lot of people might suffer with mental illness, and that's, you know, it's a pervasive phenomenon. A lot of you might have depression. That's your sort of garden variety mental illness. That's your standard fare. And if you do have depression, my advice to you and the community at large would just be to keep it in there. Bottle it up. Whatever you do, don't tell me about it, because I don't care. I don't care if you're depressed. I'm bored of it. I just don't want to hear about it. And I just can't be. And also, it's just not a good thing. If you have depression, don't tell me, because as somebody who suffers with depression, you should know how pervasive depression is, that many people suffer with depression. So if you tell me that you have depression, that might make me depressed. And that doesn't really feel like a problem halved, does it? It doesn't. It's not, I just don't tell me about it, you know? Depression is an economy based on resource scarcity. And what we've done now is we've flooded the market with depression, and it's lost all of its value, and I don't care if you're depressed. Depression is currently in its Weimar Republic era of hyperinflation. And we're all wandering around with wheelbarrows full of depression going, would you look at all of this depression? And I'm there going, that's actually not as much depression as it looks like. That won't even get you a loaf of sympathy down the shops these days. My friend said to me recently, with the confidence of a man saying something new, that's lovely. He said, I just think we need to talk more about male mental health. Oh my God, how could there possibly be time to talk about it any more than we already do? We are talking. I know that we all have different perspectives, different cultural backgrounds. I can see you, or feel you rather, like moving away from me. Okay? Let's all keep lighthearted about this. I don't want to have to say only joking, given the context of what this is.
Sometimes people come up to me after shows and say, I don't like female comedians. They talk about sex too much. I say the reason why women comedians such as myself talk about sex all the time is because, well, sex is one of the few things men allow us to participate in. I am an identical twin. I know. I get asked, how do people tell you apart? And the answer is it's pretty easy, because I live in London and she's dead. Relax, it's fine. She died at birth. Which I'm absolutely okay with, because that means I'll always be the pretty one. You'll be relieved to know that being American is not my only disability. I also have a very mild form of cerebral palsy. It's not a big deal. In Japanese, it's called no seishou ni mahi. Sounds very exotic. In French, it's called infirmité motrice cérébrale. It sounds much more expensive. I was gonna learn how to say it in Russian, but Putin's not my president anymore, so. All it really means is I can't use the muscles on the right side of my body very well, even my face to a certain extent. God help the man hoping for a return on a left cheek kiss, because I will bite your face off. Mostly, though, it's my right arm and hand that I can't use. I can place most things in my hand and hold them. I can also give people the finger, if you're into that sort of thing. Just takes 20 minutes. And when I walk with a limp because I like big dicks if I can't knock out. I do. My mom, she feels responsible for my disability because she is. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. I love my mother very, very much. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be a comedian. But I would be able to use both hands. I moved to London 5 years ago, but I've been coming to the UK every summer for years and years before that, because I fucking love you guys. I do. Genuinely cannot get enough of you and your no-can-do spirit. Also, as a disabled person that can't drive, I've figured out that countries with obvious alcohol problems have pretty decent public transportation. And you people drink a lot. There's been a strike going on, and I'm still getting to gigs. That's how much you drink. We Americans, we don't drink as much as you. We physically can't. We're on too many opioids.
You don't get trained by our dads, us heterosexual single men, right? We don't get trained about how to cope if we're single. Or we get drenched in sort of misogynistic testosterone images, you must shag at all time. What if you can't? What if you're emotionally incapable, if that makes sense? Right? I am straight. Sometimes I look at myself and go, WTF, but totes am. So... Random. Why is it being so random? I love it. Say badger, badger. Oh my God, he's so groundbreaking. Every girl in this room, whether you were brought up by your mum, your nan or aunt, you had a female figure that always sat you down and went, babe, mum, I'm an adult now, I don't need to talk, I don't care. I want you to have fun tonight, but listen, if at any point you change your mind, you call me, I will come out and get you in the Nissan Micra. I will come and, mum, you're in back, I don't care, get a taxi, I will pay for it, I'll be in the cupboard, I'll be watching, checking your safe. Be honest, how many guys, especially if you're from my background, white, working class, shaven-headed, racist, cockney dad. My dad's got not one, not two, but 3 ripples of meat between head and neck, yeah? An Essex triple ripple. Want me to carry a breeze block? Stick in my triple ripple, no problem. It's unthinkable that if by some miracle I'd pulled a girl when I was 16, my dad had sat me down and gone, now, I do want you to have fun tonight, son, but do not feel any pressure whatsoever to do anything sexual, yeah? Even though your virginity shames me on a daily basis, right? And down the pub, they call me Dave, the dad of the gayer. Don't feel any pressure. That's the only thing which trumps my dad's racism is his virulent homophobia, his fear that his eldest son might be gay. Of course, that's made me more camp. There was just streams of thin men running up to my bedroom the whole time. I was into Dungeons and Dragons till I was 21. I'm going to be a wizard tonight. Downstairs, they're up there bumming. I know they're bumming. I know. Take it out, my son. What does Expelliarmus mean? Right. And of course, you know, the last time I did Apollo, it was a couple of years ago, it goes out, it was on TV in December, and I had to face my dad that Christmas, having brought him to life like this on stage. And I thought he was going to be angry, and I wasn't prepared for the softening of the alpha's face, yeah? Her tears glistening his silver back as he waited for me in the kitchen. I had to chuck a poo to show he was dominant. This is what really happened. It was almost touching, Apollo, almost touching, right? You know what these dads are like? They suddenly show emotions once every 8 Christmases. They have too many Stellas and they do the wobble like that. The eyes go, you're my boy, I'll never tell you I love you. Do you know what I mean? Where's this coming from? Right? My dad had never said it. And he's got the 5 Stella wobble, the Christmas hat. He went, come here. And he gets the programme name wrong all the time. I saw you on that live from the Apollo, yeah? Just to wind me up, right? Right? Why'd you make it out? 3-syllable Essex out. Why'd you make it out? Why'd you make out? Right? Why'd you make out? I'm not a loving father. I'm like, where is this coming from? This is quite late in my childhood for this type of closure, and us men, we have to pretend we don't want it, but you do want to hear it. If you're 50 and your dad's 70, you'll cry like a bitch if he uses the L word. Right? Why'd you make out? I'm not a loving father. And I leant in for what I thought was going to be my closure. Do you know what came out of his mouth as his masculinity kicked back in? Why'd you make out? I'm not a loving father. Why, Dad? Yeah, I never bloody hit ya. That was it. That's the total skills it takes to be Father of the Year. Just don't beat your offspring in the face. That's all. I've not smashed my son's head in. Here comes Scylla with an award. Right? But he backed it up. It got better. Do you know why? Do you know why I never hit you? Do you know why? And I leant in. Why, Dad? I could have almost said, Daddy. I'd regressed so much at this point. You know what it's like? You're 8. If you've got a dad like mine, you're 8 when he looks at you. You'll always be 8 until he dies. Why? Do you know why I never hit your boy? Why, Dad? And this is what came out of his mouth, and I was waiting for the love again. It's because if I'd started, I wouldn't have effing stopped. Murder! That's murder!
I've met some crazy people and with some crazy ideologies. One of the craziest people I met, and the funniest, were these guys called the Black Israelites. If you don't know the Black Israelites, right, it's a group of black dudes in New York, right? And they think the black man's the original Jew, right? They think the white man's the devil. I mean, look, you know, they have a point, right? And they think Jesus, right, is coming back to put white people in slavery, right? Which, look, I think is messed up. Because I think white people would make terrible slaves. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, you whip them once, they run to the manager. You know, you try and give them bread and water. Is it gluten-free? No. It's not gluten-free. I know some old white woman making my dinner and stuff like, Margaret, if you make me another shepherd's pie, I'm gonna sell your ass. Stand on his porch. Start selling people. I don't know. I get called a lot of stuff now. Especially with the internet, I get called tons of stuff. I get called racist words, and I get called racist for making jokes about white people. I just want to say my mom's white. I have one at home. She's fine. I have no issues with white people. Love white people, right? But everyone calls me mad things. And I'll be honest with you, when you get called a lot of stuff, you have to have a thick skin. You can't let it bother you, because it'll just get you down if you always listen to that stuff. And it's never bothered me, except for one time. Someone said something about me, and it just really annoyed. Basically, someone called me middle class, and it just really... I threw my avocado on the floor. I was perturbed. I was like, Mother, take this away. I can't finish this avocado. Middle class? I ain't middle class. I'm not you. I'm from Ilford, man. If you don't know Ilford, it's in between East London. Don't you cheer Ilford, goddammit, you hooligan. Ilford is horrible. It's in between East London and hell. That's where Ilford is. Don't want to go Ilford, right? And it's that weird thing. It's like you work hard and then people think they can take away your identity from you. And that's like a weird point. It's like you can't be working class because you've worked hard. You get to play lovely gigs like this. You can't be what you are. And the thing is, like, I am working class in my heart. But there's a conflict. My brain says different sometimes. You know? Like, sometimes my friends will call me from prison. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. They'll call me up and they'll be like, yo, Jamali, you need to start repping for the Mandem. And I go, you know what? I need to start repping for the Mandem. They say, you need to start saying free the Mandem. I'm like, you know what? I need to start saying free the Mandem. And that's in my heart. I believe that. We should free the Mandem. But then my brain goes, yes, Jamali. But now you have stuff they want to steal. So I'm like, yeah, free the Mandem. them if they've completed the course, maybe. I don't know. Free them up if they've repented. I don't know. If they ring me up, they'll be like, yo, say free Ginger J. Free Ginger J. Say free Worm. Is Worm still locked up? You better free him. Say free Killer. Nah, I don't know about Killer, man. I'm not saying we should never free Killer, just don't free him where I live. Because I live in a nice gentrified area now, just what I'm saying. So it's like, and I'm angry at gentrification, but it's hard because it's delicious. I'm drinking my latte going, oh, these hipsters, do you know? Like, so yeah, free hit Killer, but just not where I live, not in my community. Because gentrification is a weird one, because does anyone remember when London was shit? Like, Hammersmith was shit. None of you would have been able to be here. It was that bad. It was never Peckham shit. Peckham was shit. I go as far as Bethnal Green and look at Peckham through a telescope. That's as far as I go. But gentrification is a weird one because can we disagree that you see like middle-class hipsters that moved to the ghetto pre-gentrification are some of the most bravest people in the world? Only a hipster can go to the hood and go, no, I see potential. Seriously.
I'd just like to tell you a true story, right? This is what it's like living in London nowadays. In fact, it's the same everywhere, really. What I hate is the hard sell. You know, you get the hard sell, right? I got it the other day. You know when people ring you up and say, do you want to combine the gas with the electric, right? And I always think, oh, that sounds dangerous, right? I hate the hard sell. It's horrible, isn't it? This is a true story. The other day, I was lying in bed with a hangover. Yeah, it's awful, isn't it, when your cock's so big it won't stay in the bed. I'm glad I did a stinking hangover. And I get this phone call, right? And I knew this bloke was trying to sell me something with his opening line, right? Because he said, hello, sir. How are you today? I said, no, thank you. And he genuinely got the hump and said, no, thank you, what? I said, sorry, no, thank you, please. He said, I'm phoning from EDF. I said, I'm not interested. He said, I haven't told you what it is yet. I said, I know exactly why you're ringing. You're ringing to offer me a free season ticket to Wembley plus unlimited access to Dirty Brenda's all-night knocking shop with as many chocolate hobnobs as I can eat. And he said, no, I'm not. I'm ringing to talk about your domestic fuel bills. I said, well, why didn't you say that in the first place? Keep talking, son. He said, well, sir, because he didn't get the sarcasm. He said, how would you feel about paying less for your gas? I said, honestly. He said, yes. I said, I reckon I'd feel exactly the same, but I'd be paying less for me gas. He said, can I ask you, who's your current supplier? I said, oh, it's Big Pete. He comes round every Thursday on a moped. I said, oh, sorry, gas. I thought you meant electricity. I said, it's British Gas. He said, can I ask what you chose then, sir? I said, well, it's a funny story. I needed some gas, and I live in Britain, and I don't know what it was, but they seem to be ticking all the right boxes. And at this point, he genuinely got the hump and said, do you know what? I think I'll ring someone else who'll answer my questions less sarcastically. I said, yeah, you can phone someone else. They'll be less sarcastic. They'll probably stay on the phone longer, but they'll still end up saying no to you anyway. I said, now, I don't know who's providing your current rejection, but if you were to switch to me, I would combine the rejection with the sarcasm and save you up to 15% a year on your cold calling time. And do you know what he did then? Do you know what he did? He tried to offer me nectar points. Let me tell you something about nectar points, ladies and gentlemen. I spent the last 2 years collecting nectar points. Do you know how many I've got? Enough for a tiny little jar of honey. I'd have been better off collecting bloody nectar. And I'm glad you laughed at that joke, because when I did it a month ago in Ireland, it got nothing. Honest to God, I did a gig 2 nights in Ireland. First night, I did that joke about the nectar of the nectar points, got nothing. I walked off stage, and the bloke that travels around me went, I said, why did that joke not get a laugh? The nectar of the nectar points. He went, oh, I know why. They don't have nectar points in Ireland. What are you telling me now for after the gig? He said, don't worry, tomorrow night, say Tesco's points. Do you know what? I don't know what's worse. The fact that he suggested that, or the fact that half of you are now looking at me going, well, Lee, what happened? Did it work? What's that? Don't leave us hanging, Lee. Did it work? What about niggle points? Ask the points.
I love football. I love almost everything about football. There's one thing I don't like, and that is the sexism. Like, obviously, that's a little bit difficult. Because there's still a certain type of bloke that seems to think that, like, I can't know as much about football as he can, right? It's like he doesn't think I've got time to both watch Match of the Day and buy sanitary products. But the key thing about that is you stockpile in the summer. So you're ready for when the season starts in the winter. I love these guys, though. I call them the proper footballing geezers. You've probably seen them knocking around. They're big guys, massive fucking heads, big thick neck veins where they store all of their repressed emotions. Weirdly, they're always very active on Twitter for some reason. And they'll always have a Twitter handle which is like @MillwallMike69. And then you'll click onto their Twitter profile and their bio will always say something like, love my kids, hate nonces. And you're sort of thinking, come on, mate, pick a side. I love these guys, though, because they've recently found me on social media. And what they love doing is they love doing sassy little snarky comments underneath my stand-up videos. And they do these sort of sick burns. And there's a phrase that I've sort of started noticing recently that they're all using. So what they've all said under my stand-up videos is this phrase. They say, Lewis Capaldi looks like he's let himself go. Which pisses me off, because Lewis Capaldi's already let himself go. I think what they're trying to do by comparing me to a plus-sized man is to imply that I'm ugly. It doesn't bother me as an insult. Honestly, it doesn't bother me as an insult. I know that I'm ugly. Not in a self-deprecating way, just in the way that all British people are ugly. Do you know this? You are absolutely vile. I'm sorry if you don't know this, you're absolutely vile, OK? And I didn't know this until recently when I started travelling outside of the UK in the last couple of years. Everything they say about us is true. Okay? But it's not your fault. The reason that we're ugly is because, and I'm specifically talking about white British people here, I don't want to draw anyone else into our ugly mess. The reason that we're ugly is because back in the day, the Vikings came over, stole all of our hot women, took them back to mainland Europe, which is why everyone in Sweden is smoking hot, and we look like someone put a wig on some Billy Bear ham. But it had an amazing reaction, because it meant that we had to develop great personalities. Because you never heard someone go, this is my Swedish friend, he's a laugh. So I would say that I'm British hot, which is ugly but a hoot. So I love football, as I say, and I kind of get these blokes that are a bit toxic, because football makes me toxic too. I do worry about my toxicity, though. Like, I've got a girlfriend now, and I don't let her watch me watch the football, because she saw me watch the football once, it almost ruined our relationship before it even started. So what happened was, she came into the living room, she said to me, Chloe, why are you laughing? And I had to explain that Chelsea had just gone 3-2 down, and the camera had panned to a crying child.
This is true, this. Does anyone know, I fail my test. Can anyone tell me what happens, right? If you're on your driving test and an animal ran out in front of the car, what are you supposed to do? Supposed to run it over. That's the right answer. They say anything else is a danger to other road users. I'm on my test. Everything's going great. Suddenly, this goat ran out in front of the car. So I remembered what he said, and I kept driving. A few seconds later, I look in my rear-view mirror. The goat is fine. I've missed him by millimetres. Now, obviously, I didn't want to fail my test. So I slapped it in reverse like that. But I must have chasing that little fucker through that field for 45 minutes before I ran over his head, and he still failed me. Where's the justice in that? You actually look a bit like my driving instructor, madam. With those fantastic specs and that hair. You've gone for the old Eric Morecambe meets Demi Moore look, haven't you? That's fantastic. Actually, lend me those glasses for a second. Just, you do. What's your name, madam? Lyndall. Where are you from? Mordor? Lyndall. My name's Lyndall. Are you searching for a ring? That's Australian. Oh, fantastic. I'm not going to take the mickey out of the Australians. You're the same as us, aren't you? Different pronunciations, you know. You say yogurt, we say yoghurt. You have prawns on the barbie, we have yoghurt. You use KY jelly. It's yoghurt, I'm not explaining them all. You say BYO, we say good guess. The question was, how do you spell boy? Arsenal. What do you do for a living? Are you a welder? It's true, actually, my driving instructor wore glasses. This is the other issue for me as well. We're driving down the road. She said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slap my hand on the dashboard. I want you to make an emergency stop as though a small child has stepped out in front of the car. Before he could put his belt on, or she, doesn't matter because I'm making it up, right? Before the person could put their belt on, right, I hit my brakes like that, and he hit his head full on the window, like... I'll just show it off now. Oh, bad job! Hey! Hey! And he turned around to me and said, why don't you wait till I slap my hand on the dashboard? I said, there's a child's life at stake here. I haven't got time to mess about with games, mate. Oh, sorry, you didn't see any of that, did you? No, sorry. You were just sat there, weren't you, going, what's he doing? What's that noise? Has he got a kind face?
I am quite impressed at the number of sports that have been adapted for disabled people, though. It's nice that they are so inclusive these days. I reckon we should go further and adapt versions of classic board games as well. You could play a very special edition of Guess Who, where all the characters had disabilities. No one would ever win, because everyone would be too afraid to describe their character in case they caused offense. The questions would be fun as well. Is your person incontinent? Does your person have crayon around his mouth? Does your person have trouble speaking properly? Is your person Danny Dyer? You could also have a disabled version of Monopoly, where every space is just free parking. Speaking from the personal experience of a bloke with a disability, I think that the dating game is much harder for people like myself. I've tried speed dating. That didn't work. By the time I'd typed out a sentence, it's time to move on to the next person. And I'm not looking for sympathy either. I'm just using emotional blackmail to try to get someone to sleep with me. I'll be in the bar afterwards, if any of you are interested. Yes, even you, sir. One of the main problems I have with dating is that I find it hard to approach girls in the traditional sense. I don't have the ability to chat up a woman. When I meet a girl, I have to type them up. And that just sounds wrong. You type up your dissertation, you type up your will, and you type up your letter to your grandma. There's nothing sexy about being typed up. Even if there was, when you're typing excitedly to a woman and accidentally spell something wrong, autocorrect is a ducking nightmare. For example, I once asked a girl if she had a pen I could borrow, so I could write down her number. I didn't expect it to say, "Can I borrow your penis?" So you can imagine my surprise when she pulled it out right in front of me. It's at this point in my set when I like to remind people that I'm not related to Stephen Hawking in any way. In fact, the closest I have ever come to being Hawking is when I went to see The Theory of Everything at the cinema. It's the movie about Stephen Hawking and his life. I didn't go to watch it, though. I just went so that I could sit at the back, say random sentences on my iPad, and fuck with the rest of the audience.
I read this thing, right, online, so it must be true, where everyone who's under the age of 30 is going to live till 160. Like, you look tired now. 160! I don't want to be sat in a flat, leaking, liver spotted. Your ears and nose, they never stop growing. I'm going to be sat there looking like I work at bloody Gringotts Bank, just like, And I think if I get to 160, I'm ending it. I don't know how you do it. What are you going to do? Sort of suffocate yourself with a bag for life? I reckon the best way, and maybe like a toaster in a bath situation, but it'd be one of those like sit-down baths with a chair and a door, and then you have to wait for it all to fill up. You put in a bit of matey for a last bit of luxury, and then you go, oh shit, I forgot the toaster, and then you have to wait for it all to drain. You open the door, you go out onto the landing, down a stair lift, into the kitchen, you go, what the bloody hell have I come in here for? It's never gonna happen. I'm trying to do more nice things, though. That's what I'm trying to do. Because I've never really done anything with my life. I did a thing recently. I went to go and give blood for the first time. Has anyone ever done that? It's just one woman like, yeah, I did it today. It's amazing, but I thought you did it in like a hospital or like a sanitised medical centre. You don't. You do it in like a rugby club or like a methadone church, right? I turned up to this bingo hall near my nan's house, right? I was greeted by the second moodiest person I've ever seen in my life. It was a woman called Linda. Like, her name badge said Jean, but she looked like a Linda. Do you know what I mean? Like short bob, gelled fringe, good at darts. She weren't happy. I turned up, she goes, have you got an appointment? And I went, no. And she goes, have you filled out a form? And I went, no. And then she threw this form at me, and as I'm walking off, she goes, thank you very much for giving blood. We really appreciate it. Giving blood is the greatest gift anyone could ever receive. And I'm thinking, Linda's never been given a slow cooker. So, take this form, I start filling it out. I had to use this woman's eyeliner because Linda wouldn't lend me a pen. Just filling it all out. And as I said, the only reason I went to go and give blood is make myself feel like I'd done something with my life. And instead, I'm faced with all these very serious adult questions. It was things like, have you ever been to Africa? And I'm like, no. And he goes, have you ever had sex with a man? And I'm like, no. And he goes, have you ever had sex with a prostitute? And I thought, I've done fucking nothing with my life. Nothing. Have you injected drugs? Have you smoked drugs? Have you had any treatments in the last 6 months? I panicked. I went, oh, well, me and my mum have had facials off Groupon. Not the right answer. weirdest question, are you HIV positive? I was like, what? Like, no. Like, if anything, I'm against it. And then they took me off into this room, and there's all these sort of like Sharons and Johns lay on beds with sort of needles in their arms. Like, it looked like a spa day for smackheads. Put a belt round my arm, not even a nice belt. They spanked it a bit, they told me to relax, and then they whipped out the biggest flipping needle I've ever seen in my life, and I just fainted. Completely fainted. I can hear all these muffled voices, and then I can hear Linda's bellowing voice just going, I knew he'd be a fainter. I'm like... By the time I'd come around, all these people are trying to help me out, and Linda just parted them. And her way of trying to make me feel better, her way of trying to make me feel like a proper grown-up was going, would you like a glass of orange juice and a biscuit? I was like, no, Linda, I want to have sex with an African gay man for money. That's what I want to bloody do.
What you call in show business a triple threat. I do comedy, and I do music, and I will cut you. Just joking, I probably won't. So it's so fantastic to be here today. I will be doing a little bit of music, so if you're a fan of NWA or Snoop Doggy Dogg, then I apologise. I'll be about 3 minutes. So this first song, this is about travelling on a train. Could you give me a cheer, Apollo, if you've ever been on a train before? About half. Okay, great. Lovely. Well, the half of you who cheered, that means you are my target demographic. Congratulations. So I'm going to sing this song. This is about the worst thing any of us can ever encounter on a train journey. Just before I sing it, I have had some problems at previous gigs, actually, so I just want to make something crystal clear. If you listen carefully, I'm not even saying the word Hindu. Just listen harder. Hindu on a train. Hindu on a train, cowboy hats and penis cakes, neck tattoos and big L plates, and voices like a foghorn in a drain. Hindu on a train, groping every passing male. I suspect you've been to jail, and God willing you might all go again. And although I have so many things to say to you, I'm aware that there are 6 of you, and all of you have had more fights than me. I've never glassed someone, but I do know how. Perhaps I'll glass you now. Hindu on a train, you brought your own speakers too, brilliant. To belt out Calvin Harris tunes, I mean the maid of honor's clearly on cocaine. Hindu on a train, you see me staring and you threaten me, then drunkenly you all set on me, and with a dick-shaped bottle take your aim. If you only knew, we're not so different, me and you. Just 3 months ago, my friends Hindu, we got drunk and we pretty much hijacked a plane. We were worse than you. We went down on all the crew. Mostly reluctant gay men, some women too. We got thrown out of Spain. You see, we're all the same, but you're not listening, you're bashing out my brain. Hindu on a train.
And this is what I'm talking about, the assumption that if you're in a place like that, you obviously are the help. Okay, example 2, that's it, white people. One more example, and then we're moving on, right? I'm on tour in the UK. I'm going up to Leeds. All my team was already up in Leeds setting up the theatre. I'm travelling with my tour manager and best friend, Lila, also a black woman. So I go, you know what? That's Lila. I go, you know what, Lila? Let's not drive. It's a long drive. Let's get a train and go up in comfort. So we rush down to the train station. I buy us 2 first-class tickets. There's a train leaving, so we jump on the train takes off. And we're walking through the train towards the first-class carriage. We walk into the first-class carriage. This white woman is sitting at a table. She looks up, she sees us, and at the top of her voice, she shouts, this is first class! Now Lila goes, what the fuck did you say? And I hold Lila, no, Lila, no. I just grab her by her collar, no, Lila, no. No, Lila, no, Lila, no. Watch me humiliate this bitch just with my mouth. Come back. So at the top of my voice, I say, thank you, lady. But what was it about us that made you assume that we didn't belong in the first-class carriage? She starts to fumble. Everybody on the train just kind of leans out from behind their seats. And she gets flustered. She's like, and then all she could think of was like, I thought you were lost. And I was like, how'd you get lost on a moving train going in one direction, bitch? How? Now, this woman was not alone. She was with her husband. Her husband was sitting opposite her at the table, same table. But we did not see her husband's face for this entire confrontation because the entire time he was hidden behind the newspaper, just... His hands never came down. All we saw were his knuckles just gripping that paper. And they were in their 60s. So they'd obviously been married a long time, and he's behind that newspaper going, ah! Nosy, big-mouth cow! 30 years we've been married, and every day of those 30 years I've said, mind your own fucking business! Shit! And now we're both gonna get beaten up by these 2 black boys.
I recently got one of those virtual reality sets into the house, you know, with the mask and the whole... How many of you have done this yet? 1, 2, 7. It's amazing. It's genuinely stunning to me how few people have had a go on this, like whatever. It's genuinely stunning. You put the mask on your head, it's got 2 screens, independent screens, so therefore everywhere you move, it's like perfectly realistic. You put the headphones in, it's like completely immersive. You're in a 360 degree in all direction, totally artificial world. It's genuinely stunning. I think it's going to change gaming. I think it's going to change movies. It is going to revolutionize burglary. It's just... You break into a house and somebody has that on their face, Jesus, relax, chill out, you've got an hour. They're not going to know you're there. There's no rush, you can choose what you want. I like that, but that'll work well in the hall. It's a different game, right? And the weird thing is, as you saw there, not everyone's having a go at this. This is a genuinely transformative entertainment technology, and not everyone is using VR, right? And one of the quiet reasons that no one's talking about it, the reason that people aren't using VR is because nobody's using it to watch porn. It seems like a weird thing to do, but in the kind of history of nerdy kind of things, porn is surprisingly important for getting new technology accepted. Porn is the reason why Blu-ray beat the other kind of special DVD in their race a few years ago. Porn is the reason that sometimes video streaming software beat other kinds of video streaming software. The stuff that gets used for porn has a place immediately in the market, right? And nobody is using VR for porn, right? And I'm not naive, right? I know that men are visual creatures, but I can kind of see you know, no man, while actually making love, has ever there been going, oh my God, this is incredible. Oh my God, honey, this is amazing. Oh, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Let me just have a quick look around the flat. Oh, that's fantastic, Jane. Oh, that's amazing. Jesus, huge. Is that Corner Singer original now, or did you have a couple of days? But the main reason that people aren't using VR for porn is because you cannot be entirely sure that she's out for the afternoon. And I mean 100% sure, because the stakes are really high. You do not look good in this situation. You do not need your loved one going, oh, I've left my credit card, I better go back in. What is this you're doing to yourself? Yes, I was bringing the kids to my mother's house, but the little one fell in, we've had to come home. But Jesus, this is what greets us. The nightmare is you finish the wank of the century, you take off the mask, and there are 3 police officers just staring at you. Going, do you have no idea what's been happening for the last while? Somebody broke into your house. They were spotted, we were called, there's been a standoff. You've been a hostage for 45 minutes. We've had to close off your road. Sky News have a helicopter slowly circling overhead. Your wife is outside on a megaphone going, stay strong, John, stay strong. And all the time, we've been watching you on the thermal imaging. Just battering away at yourself.
There's other younger people in the room, right? You know what I mean. You have only ever known a time in your life when you're trying not to get pregnant or trying not to get somebody else pregnant. And I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but on both accounts, I fucking smashed it. I think it comes down to skill set at the end of the day, doesn't it? People are just good at different things. Some people are good at the violin, some people are good at parallel parking. I was very good at taking the pill. Every day, every day, every day. Honestly, I used to think I was so good at taking the pill, I deserved a reward. Arguably, there was a reward. It was the reward of not having to watch Peppa Pig or cleaning up another human's shit. Tell you what I don't understand, right, is women who are on the pill and forget to take it. Don't get that, because don't get me wrong, I forget things. I forget my keys, my wallet, the fact I'm married. Sure! But forgetting to take something that can prevent you from creating a human that could one day say, turn the machines off, is what she would have wanted. I'm going to remember that one, thank you. Obviously does happen though, women forget to take the pill, they get knocked up. Happened to a girl I used to work with actually, when I used to work in an office, right? And we were chatting about it one day. She was so blasé, we're in the kitchen. She's just standing there rubbing her belly like, well, the thing is, I've just got really bad memory. I was thinking, that's funny, because every day without fail, you remember to steal my milk. Maybe if you'd strapped your packet of microgynon to my semi-skimmed, Stephen in accounts wouldn't be telling everyone how you trapped him. But I think the reason I was always very good at remembering to take the pill, because I've been on it for so long. I was on it since I was about 16. And the reason I started taking it was because I was going out with my first boyfriend, Kevin Sutherland. A boom, chicka, wow, wow. He was quite the catch. He had a Peugeot 106 and a tattoo of Bart Simpson, which I thought showed a great joie de vivre. And things were going very well between Kevin and I. We had matching bracelets from Argos, so you can tell how serious we were. And we'd agreed that we were going to do it for the first time, right? So I was like, right, I'll put myself on the pill because my first time is going to be really special. My first time is going to be just like in the movies. So the big day arrived, and Kevin, bless him, he made such an effort for everything to be really perfect. Like, he paid his little brother to leave the room. To this day, the most romantic thing a man has ever done for me. And he made a mix CD of all of our favourite romantic songs. You know, like Boom, 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 Let Me Hear You Say Wayo. And as we lay down on his single bed, with his Liverpool FC duvet cover on it, the scent of Lynx Africa heavy in the air. And as Kevin took my virginity so beautifully, and gently, and quickly, from behind, I remember thinking, wow, just like in the movies. Obviously, it's quite difficult to make eye contact in that position, isn't it? Almost felt like I lost my virginity to Stephen Gerrard. I'll never walk alone. I never will.
A lot of people often ask what made me get into stand-up comedy. I always say my mum's side, that's the funny side. But it more or less started with school. When I was in school, I was dyslexic. I can hear the thoughts in the room right now. Oh my God, he's dyslexic. He can't play Scrabble. Oh my gosh. I think where comedy started for me, because I was a bit of a class clown, you know, and the thing is when you're dyslexic, it's not that you can't read or you can't write. For every child, it's always different. For myself, it was always my concentration would affect my education. Like, let's say, for example, I'm talking, let's say me and you are friends, bro. We're not being destructive, though, to the class. But everybody in this room remembers that one particular old teacher. She's like 172 or some stuff like that, yeah? And do you remember when she'd catch you talking and make a big meal out of it? So we're having a small conversation, then she'd notice me, particularly me, talking, ghastly. We've got a conversation over here. Yes, children, we've got a conversation over here. No, stand up. No, you can stand up. Do you remember someone would try and defend it for you? Actually, do you remember what you actually say to her as a reply? But miss, I'm not even doing anything. Do you remember when teachers just lost it for a little bit? That's right, you're doing nothing. Now stand up. Someone would try and defend it for you in your honor, in your class.
Now, miss, you know what? Man wasn't even talking, you know. I was sitting right there. I'm sweating. I feel like you're just segregating him because he's dyslexic. Why are you doing this, miss?
Do you remember when your teacher just didn't care anymore? She's been there so long, she didn't care. Do you remember your teacher's like, what? You can fuck off! Do you remember when the first time your teacher swore? Do you remember that kid? He couldn't believe it. What, you're swearing at me? No, I don't care. I'm telling my mum. What do you mean about me? I don't care about. I'm going to tell Austin. What do you mean me, yeah? Tell the whole me. This teacher didn't care. And you, stand up. So I stood in front of the whole class. You know, I was in a science lesson. So one teacher said to me, so Mr. Mo, Mr. Mo, being as you like to talk. No, because you like to talk. You ever seen when teachers get so passive-aggressive, they laugh, but nothing's funny? Mr. Mo, no, you like to talk. You think it's MSN or something like this, don't you? Yes. So, being as you like to talk, yeah, you can tell everybody in this lesson, yes? Yeah, no, because you're a talker. You're going to be a teacher one day, aren't you? You can tell everybody in this lesson what osmosis is. Huh? What is osmosis? So I was like, osmosis. So I was like, well, osmosis is actually the process where a high concentration goes into a low concentration. A bit like if I put potatoes in water, they expand with weight and density. Anyway, what I was saying before getting really interrupted, basically like... This old teacher lost her mind. Do you remember the teacher got so angry they start shaking, but they shake so much their turkey neck would shake at the same time? Do you remember that teacher? How dare you, in my lesson, on the day of the Sabbath? The Sabbath? It's Orange Wednesdays. What's this Sabbath thing about? What's that? How can I get involved with that stuff? Do you know what? Get out right now. You can get out right now. So I never forget, you know, I'm walking outside the lesson, you know, spudding some of the guys in the way, don't know, you know. But I thought, you know what? I've had enough of being treated like this. I've had enough of this, because right now, I'm in year 11. Soon I'm going to leave. I'll be in college, earning some real money, making some EMA. I've had enough of being treated like this. Yeah. And I said to my teacher, I said, you know what, miss? I'd actually be learning if you was doing your job, which should be teaching. The whole class simultaneously went, oh my dear.